I am so excited to be here today interviewing Dr. Bruce Mallin, who is a long-time Arizona resident. And Bruce, I was hoping you could share with us some of your stories of how you came to Prescott, I believe, your family.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Prescott is what I consider my hometown. We arrived in Prescott with my mother and father and I believe in late 1939. I was about 18 months old.
Wow.
Moved there from Los Angeles, California to join my Uncle Sam in business, in the scrap business in Prescott.
Oh.
And we stuck it out for quite a number of years. We finally moved down to Phoenix in 1951. But Prescott was pretty eventful, actually, as a kid growing up there. We were there during the war, and there were a lot of activities.
Was there a Jewish community there?
There was a small Jewish community. There was a family there whose the father of this family was a mining engineer from Humboldt, Arizona. And that was Al Pessin and his wife Ruth, and his son Jimmy and I were best of friends growing up. During the war, there seemed to be a lot more people that came in, and most of those were associated with the VA hospital at Fort Whipple. A lot of physicians, some veterans who were, either injured or getting better at that hospital. There was a fair amount of activity with those few Jewish members who were in that institution for medical reasons and became a part of the community while they were there. And there were several physicians who worked there as well, at least transitly until the war was over and they moved on. So altogether, there was probably a 5,000 population, and if you could get 50 Jews together, that was a lot. And there really weren't that many. Up until about the 1970s, there were really no Jewish people in Prescott that anybody really knew about. There were one or two. I know there was a family up there that had a shirt factory and so on, but it was not an established community. During the time that we were there, we used to have high holiday services in a rental hall known as the Monday Club, and we have motion pictures, actually, movies of people moving, walking in and out of that area for the holidays during the various seasons of the year. My mother and several of the other mothers who had kids got together and established a Sunday school, so we learned a little bit about the holidays, things like that. And actually, I would have loved to continue to live there, but they moved me down to Phoenix so I get ready for a bar mitzvah, and that was what prompted the move.
And when you came to Phoenix, I assume you were with Bethel then? You went to Bethel Synagogue?
Yeah, that's exactly where we started. Then I had a bar mitzvah at Bethel.
Where'd you go to high school?
West High, formerly West High.
Oh, yes.
Now it's Phoenix Metro Tech, I think. And that was a big school in those days. I think we had about 600 or 800 students in our class before we graduated.
Did you find that the Jewish kids kind of hung together in those days?
Yeah, I was pretty busy in those days with AZA, BBYO activities, and most of the kids, I think, who were there and at North High and a few at Phoenix Union, which doesn't exist anymore either, all kind of gathered around the BBYO activities in the community.
You have had such a wonderful long career. You are a doctor, and I know that you've been president of the Medical Society maybe a couple of times, right?
Well, actually, really only once. I was elected twice, but only served once. After the first election, I got activated for Desert Storm while I was still in the Navy Reserve, so I couldn't take the position. When I came back, they asked if they could run me again, so I said okay, and that's the time I actually got elected, or actually served. I was elected both times.
Can you share with us about your Navy career?
My Navy career started while I was in medical school at the University of Colorado. I joined when I was a junior medical student. The Navy gave us a little stipend in those days, and that was back in about 1963. And after I graduated med school, I did a civilian internship and then went on 4 years of active duty in the Navy. It was quite interesting, I think. I got to be under the sea, on the sea, flying over the sea, on land. Ultimately, I became a flight surgeon and spent some time in aviation medicine as well.
How was it being Jewish in the Navy?
You know, I've heard a lot of people say that that wasn't the best thing, but I never had 2 minutes of concern. Nobody ever brought up the issue. Nobody ever challenged me on it. I felt very comfortable there. And I was, while not, totally observant or anything like that, I sort of pretty much fit in with the crowd. I was able to stand my ground largely on any subject that came up and made no pretense about not being Jewish or trying to hide it or anything like that. And I thought I was very well accepted. So for me, it was a positive experience, regardless.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about your philosophy of giving back?
Well, we try to be sensitive to needs in the community. I cannot tell you that I've been a heavy hitter as far as it goes. There are some very philanthropic people in this community, which is great, but they're hard to keep up with in terms of that sort of thing. But we do what we can. Risa, my wife, has been very, very active in the community. My kids have all done all the things that they need to do. They've done birthright trips, they've done trips to Israel, and so on and so forth. And they have a lot of connections that way too. So, I'd like to think that we haven't done anything particularly incredible, but it's been a very nice historical background for the kids to be involved and our family to be involved in general. Well, like I said, I've got roots that I think still go deep in Prescott. Like our family lived there for many years, and my sister was born there and so on. And I still try to keep a foot in town. And one of the ways we've been able to do that with the large growth of the Jewish community in Prescott is that they developed a Jewish Community Foundation of the greater Prescott area. I volunteered and have been on the board of directors of that organization for several years now. It's been a fabulous experience, much better than being on the Medical Society board of directors or a synagogue board of directors, because they do a lot of really nice things. And really made a name for the Jewish community in Prescott. A lot of charitable activities, a lot of cultural activities, brought some big names in. Itzhak Perlman, for example, and the Moscow Symphony, and so on and so forth. It's really been a great event and a great organization to be affiliated with.
You certainly have been around in the community for a long time. I bet you've seen a lot of changes in the way things have grown, certainly in the Jewish community in the Phoenix area.
Well, when we came down from Phoenix in 1951, there were 150,000 people in Phoenix. And nowadays, there's considerably more, as you might imagine. And with the growth of the community at large, there's been a huge increase in the Jewish community as well. It's, I guess, exploded in a sense that it goes in every which way, in every direction. A lot of different interests within the Jewish community, all levels of participation. It's really interesting to see quite a metropolitan approach.